Hello, I'm the Exhausted Author, and today I'm going to talk about objectivity versus subjectivity when discussing media. First, a bit of preamble though, but trust me, it's relevant. For a while now, I've been a part of the writing community, and prior to the age of YouTube reviews and subsequent review culture, a stringent fighter against the rampant praise of subpar writing. I have argued the merits of story to many people, only to find once I hit the age of social media that the responses I was debating against weren't just the thoughts of a few people I would run into at the occasional party. It was an entire group that held certain beliefs about critical thinking in media. Before I can begin to talk about acceptable and unacceptable plot points in writing, I must first address this issue. In my life, I'm often written off as being too hard on things. A common comment I get is, "Exhausted Author doesn't like anything," which isn't even remotely true, and anyone who's ever met me knows this. However, the sentiment is thrown around because usually when I don't like something, I have a detailed list as to why I don't like it, and am usually prepared at a moment's notice to provide examples. That's something that people are usually not ready to deal with when they ask, "How did you like the movie?" But they remember my negative rants, something not as memorable when both of us enjoy a film and we all just agree. What I've come to believe is most people think that level of scrutiny only comes with an extreme level of hate, and since they mostly remember me tearing apart things they enjoy but I didn't, the label of hating everything is applied. And that's okay. I'm fine with being thought of as picky or having high standards when I'm really only asking for films to at least rate at a C. What isn't okay are the rather ridiculous arguments that I get countered with defending things that I scrutinize when I explain that I'm speaking objectively and not subjectively. And as I mentioned before, my exposure to the age of social media has shown me that I'm not the only one that these responses are levied against. So let's talk about these two ways of looking at media. To look at something subjectively, of course, means that you're looking at it from your personal point of view. A person may love a movie more than any other in the world, yet what they consider to be the best may be barely considered film to literally every other person on the planet. Let's give this fictional person a name, Barry, and a movie favorite, Birdemic Shock and Terror. Barry the Birdemic lover. Barry both unironically and subjectively feels that Birdemic is an amazing film with top-tier graphics. For whatever reason, he thinks the special effects in other films like Avengers and Avatar just don't compare. Maybe Barry is stupid. Maybe his brain doesn't interpret pictures like other people. Regardless of the reason, subjectively, Barry is right. To him, it has the best special effects. No one can tell him what he thinks of the way the film looks. The only person who can judge whether or not Barry the Birdemic lover enjoys the special effects of Birdemic is Barry. You can show him examples of better movies, show the processes involved in both, show informative charts and graphs, scream at the top of your lungs, it doesn't matter. The deciding factor is still Barry. Subjectively, he sits as the Supreme Court judge of taste. What he likes is based on random life circumstances that even he might not be aware of. And let's say you do convince him that the effects are bad. You did it. Judge Barry has seen the light. What exactly does that mean? Him accepting it's bad has just as much weight as him accepting it's good subjectively. You got him to not like his once favorite movie as much, but whatever the reasons, whether the movie is well done or not, could change at a whim because it is his subjective opinion. You could see him again in a week and find he changed his mind back, or now he's arguing that Troll 2 is the best subversive horror ever made. He could even show up with some stomachable opinions, but the point is, whatever he claims, subjectively, he's right. Which makes it odd to me that people are put at ease by the word subjective. Like if you tell someone something is your subjective opinion, they calm down a bit. In my experience, because they know on some level that means there are no rules. They seem to just inherently understand what I just explained. Most times the discussion will end with someone insulting, jokingly or otherwise, someone else's taste, and that will be that. On the other side of the coin, when I say something is bad objectively, what I often get back is this look of derision. I suppose what comes across in the English language is that what I'm saying cannot be disputed, but it's actually the exact opposite. In this instance, let's say I make a statement about a story that I declare to be objectively true. What that means is I'm coming down off the dais as the official judge and arbiter of what is and is not, and am instead handing the deciding factor to the indisputable data presented by the story itself. I am making a statement that you can in fact prove to be false using the impartial guide that is the work. I personally have quite a few movies that I deem to be objectively terrible, but I still enjoyed them subjectively. For some reason, discussing a piece of media in purely objective terms exclusively upsets people. Now, I have no proof of this, but I think the problem boils down to those who feel strongly about something subjectively feel like when the objective review comes in, they're being told that their very real feelings towards a piece of media don't matter. The fact that a story was able to elicit an emotional response from them and possibly everyone they know should count for something by their estimation. And to be told that it has no weight in the objective debate becomes infuriating. However, as I said before, subjective arguments can be irresolvable by their very nature, and when it comes to plot and story, if you wish to discuss it critically, there must be an even playing field. A place where both parties can make points where the validity is not determined by someone else's feelings. After all that, one may ask, okay, but is there a place in this world for subjective opinions? And the answer is yes, of course. When talking about everything from stories to everyday life, there is a place for such things, and normally, without denoting things as subjective or objective, we switch between them when needed. It's like living in the South and asking someone from up north if it's cold outside. Their subjective answer is unlikely to be helpful since it's probable that what they consider warm is basically freezing to you. You would be better suited to ask the temperature, an objective fact to lend to your very important yet subjective conclusion on whether or not a coat is warranted. There are countless examples, and anyone listening to this will be able to think of several more. There are cases where subjectivity is really all that matters, such as what makes a person beautiful. To bring it back to the point I'm making, there's the question, is the movie good? I'll do a video later about the inherent issues with that question, but for now, let's simplify it and take it at face value. If your friend sees a comedy and asks you if it was good, odds are they want your subjective opinion. Did you laugh out loud or even think it was funny? And the answer to that question is usually hyperbole, yet colloquially acceptable. Most people don't want to know about the structure of the comedy or the pacing per se, they want to know if their friend, whose sense of humor they would know to some degree, found it funny. It even works in reverse, such as, well, if Barry liked it, I shouldn't bother watching. I would dare say in many circles of friends, subjective responses are a given, and if you have a friend whose taste you know differs from your own, objective descriptions help explain why you liked it and why they may not. Not everyone wants to or even can look at a movie objectively. There are even some films I refrain from taking a hard stance on because I have some sort of bias that I just can't be bothered to overcome. I don't want or need to have a detailed opinion on everything I've ever watched, but when I enter a debate about the objective merits of a film, I do so knowing that my feelings about something hold no validity in terms of that film's objective quality. Meaning that if I like something, but someone has a well-reasoned explanation as to why they think it's poorly executed, I will listen. And I might even change my opinion about the thing. But if I don't change my mind, it does not offend me in the slightest that the thing I enjoyed was actually subpar. I chose not to look into it that deeply, and it doesn't bother me that someone else did. Objective reasoning for a story's quality should have no more bearing on one's subjective feelings than a vague, I didn't like it. If you love something and refuse to change your mind about your enjoyment, objective reasoning has no place in the discussion you might have about how it made you feel. On the flip side, subjectivity has no place in an objective debate. These two things have a place, and which to use when is an important skill to learn. In order for the art of storytelling to evolve, or stop devolving, we must learn to be able to take a step back from things we love and look at them critically. As a writer, I need to do it as part of improving my craft, dissecting the things I watch to see how they work. Understanding is an important part of improving, not just for myself, but the industry as a whole. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope it makes things easier on you when I go in on The Witcher. Like, follow, and subscribe, and please check out my book, link below.